So I love the name of the book, Woke is Dead. I love it and I want it to be true. Is it true right now?
Not yet. So it's a bit like we're now in a game of whack-a-mole. You know whack-a-mole? So every time they poke their head up, the wokies, you got to whack them down again. Because as Elon Musk said, it's like a virus. This thing came along, and the best description I've had of it was an Australian lady came up to me in London, and she said, "Mr. Morgan, I hope you don't mind me interrupting your walk." I said, "Not at all." And she said, "Here's the thing about these wokies." She said, "They just suck all the joy out of life." And I went, "Yes." And she said, "Don't let them get away with it, Mr. Morgan." So I've seen it ever since that conversation as my vocation in life, not to let the wokies suck the joy out of our life. Who's with me? Yes.
So well done. The they-them conversation with the non-binary person was one of your all-time best.
Well, I've never understood it. They say they're non-binary. Nobody knows what that means, right? And then I said, "What does that mean? What do you call yourself?" "I'm a they-them." And I said, "But there's only one of you." And I'm just a common sense guy, right? I'm a centrist journalist, common sense guy. But when I see one human being looking at me, insisting I call them they-them, I think I've literally died and gone to madland.
That's the problem with they-them. That one's taken. The whole thing is confusing. Like, how did we settle on allowing that?
None of it makes sense. It's like having 6'5" blokes in women's sport. Obviously, it's ridiculous.
Yes.
Right? Doesn't mean you're transphobic. I want trans people, if they want to lead their life like that, to have the same rights to fairness, equality, and safety that I have. No problem. Okay? It's not about hating people or wanting them to be victimized. Very important to say that, right? But, and it's a really important but, I don't want the trans activists to erode women's rights in their pursuit of those things. It's as simple as that.
Did you see that story in the news this week of the woman at the Gold's Gym in Los Angeles?
Ridiculous!
And it turns out that guy has a criminal history, the guy pretending to be a woman. Not only does he have a criminal history, he committed domestic violence so bad, he broke the mandible, the jawbone of the woman he was with, a compound fracture. You know, compound fractures when the bone is sticking out. Think of how badly he would have had to beat this woman in order to be causing that kind of damage and then convicted. And that's the man who's taking over the women's rooms in the Gold's gyms. And it's pursuant to the law that Gavin Newsom and these Californians signed in. They wanted it.
And by the way, the woman, the actual woman who said, I feel really uncomfortable, rather than supporting her about her discomfort, they throw her out of the club.
Yeah.
And they let the transgender character, who's obviously, from what you're telling me, an awful person, continue to be using the club. How can that be right? Right? That is not right. So again, it's about fairness and equality and preserving women's rights. And I've got a 13-year-old daughter. I don't want her, if she suddenly becomes a great athlete at some sport, to have her place potentially, say, at the Olympics. I mean, get this. You won't believe this. I mean, even you, Megyn, have not heard anything like this. Okay. Last week, I interviewed a woman called Betty Yee. Anyone heard of Betty Yee? She's a candidate to be governor of California. And she came on to attack Katie Porter, another candidate to be governor of California.
Angry woman.
Right, very angry woman. She's the one who always shouts at all her domestic staff, "Get out of the shot!"
Just,
that one.
I mean, if we're being honest, get the fuck out of the shot.
Yeah, get the fuck out of the shot. She's that one. So this one, Betty, came on to attack Mad Katie with shouting at all the staff. And in the middle of it, I said, well, I went on Bill Maher's show with Katie Porter, and we had an argument about trans athletes in women's sport. And to my surprise, the Bill Maher audience, a little bit more liberal than the audience tonight, I suspect, but they all cheered me, not her. And she couldn't believe it. She was like, whoa, what? I thought everyone agreed with me about this, but they didn't. So I then turned to Betty Yee. I said, what do you feel? And she said, well, I kind of agree with Katie on that one. I went, uh-oh. And then I said, well, let me give you an example. You've got the Olympics coming to Los Angeles. If you're the governor of California, if you genuinely think there's no problem in having trans athletes in women's sport, would you advocate for a gender-neutral Olympics where all the men and women compete together? She went, yes. And then she said, especially in track and field where there's really no advantage.
Oh my God.
So Imagine Usain Bolt in lane 1, and then the women in lane 2, 3, and 4. Apparently, he has no physical advantage over the women. What a load of baloney!
What an idiot!
And this woman wants to be the governor of the state where I own a property in LA. And I'm like, this is insane. Gender-neutral Olympics. Think about it. Women, they've worked out that women would win, I think, 2 medals if they did that in the entire Olympics. And this is supposed to be a woman who wants to run California who thinks she's pro-women. It's mad.
It's enough to make you want to see it happen. Like, with all due respect, right? You just want to see it happen one year because that would be the last year we'd see it happen ever, anywhere again. Right? Just to put the lie to it.
I don't think Betty Yee is going to be governor of California.
I don't think so either. No. God willing. I don't think it's going to be Katie Porter either, though I could be wrong. I have to say, I had a lot of thoughts on that Katie Porter thing. I have to say, like, the employee shouldn't have been in the shot. I mean, just to be perfectly honest. But she could have handled that so much differently. She should have come out, instead of being like, I understand and I try to be respectful, but she should have come out and said, like, sometimes I get pissed. I don't get, that reporter was annoying. She was digging at me, and I didn't like her, and I just, to be honest, that's who I am. People would have responded to that.
You know what? People that get caught like that, it's never the first time they've done it, is it? You know what I mean? Yeah. I watched that and thought, she's doing that all day long. Those poor staff. Can you imagine the hell of working for Katie Porter?
It's the one time of year that Birch Gold Group gives away free gold with every qualifying purchase. That's right, for Black Friday, when you convert an existing IRA or 401k in whole or in part into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold, Birch Gold will send free gold to your home for every $20,000 purchased. Gold started this year around $2,600 an ounce. By October, it was over $4,000 an ounce. Why? Global uncertainty. 2025 has been defined by trade wars. Central banks are pulling from the US dollar as the global reserve currency, and military tension continues to build. Gold thrives in times of uncertainty, and if you are looking to diversify your savings, Birch Gold can help you. Plus, now through November 30th, get free gold with a qualifying purchase. Just text MK to the number 989898 to claim your eligibility and for our free info kit on gold. But your opportunity for free gold with purchase will end on November 30th. So don't wait. Text MK to the number 989898 for full details. Message and data rates may apply. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.